is a manifesting energy, and his knowledge is manifested as spiritual perfection. As confirmed in the Vishnu Puran 11269, the pleasure potency of Krishna gives Krishna transcendental pleasure and bliss. Thus, when Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure, he exhibits his own spiritual potency known as Ladini. In his spiritual form, Krishna enjoys his spiritual energy, and that is the sum and substance of the Radha Krishna pastimes. These pastimes can be understood only by elevated devotees. One should not try to understand the Radha Krishna potencies and pastimes from the mundane platform. Generally, people misunderstand these as being material. When the pleasure potency is further condensed, it is called Mahabhav. Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Krishna, is the personification of that Mahabhav. In this regard, in the Ujjwal Neelmani 4.3, Rupa Goswami states that there are two competitors in loving Krishna, Radharani and Chandravali. When they are compared, it appears that Radharani is superior, for she is Mahabhav Swarupa. The term Mahabhav Swarupa, the personification of Mahabhav, is applicable to Radharani only and no one else. Mahabhav is full of the pleasure potency, and it is an exhibition of the highest love for Krishna. Radharani is therefore known throughout the world as the most beloved of Krishna, and her name is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 also confirms that Krishna expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world. And these potencies are all non-different from him, the absolute truth. Although Krishna is always enjoying the company of his pleasure potency expansions, he is all pervading. Therefore, Brahma offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, the cause of all causes. As Krishna, the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, as Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. Krishna is unlimited, and Radharani is also unlimited in her ability to satisfy him. Krishna is satisfied just by seeing Radharani, but Radharani expands herself in such a way that Krishna desires to enjoy her more. Because Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani. And that combination of Krishna and Radharani is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramanand Rai then began to explain how Radharani is the supreme emblem of Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms known as Lalita, Vishakha, and her other confidential associates. In his Ujjwal Neelmani, Rupa Goswami explains that one of the characteristics of Srimati Radharani is that her body is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas and is complete with transcendental love for Krishna. Indeed, that body is the personification of his pleasure potency. Radharani bathes her transcendental body 3 times. First, in the water of mercy. Second, in the water of youthful beauty. And third, in the water of youthful luster. After she bathes 3 times in that way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with her personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy, trembling, shedding of tears, perspiring, choking of the voice, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, standing up of the bodily hairs, changing of bodily color, and madness. The decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these are manifested by the expansion of Radharani's personal beauty, which is adorned with the garlands of flowers. Her patient calmness is compared to a covering of clothes, which have been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot in her hair, and the mark of tilaka on her forehead is her good fortune. Radharani's sense of hearing is externally fixed on Krishna's name and fame. Chewing betel nuts makes one's lips reddish. Similarly, Radharani's complete attachment to Krishna has blackened the borders of her eyes. This darkness might be compared to ointment produced by Radha's joking with Krishna. Radharani's smile is just like the taste of camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down on the bed of pride within the room of aroma. Her breasts are covered by the blouse of anger born of her ecstatic affection for Krishna. Her reputation as the best of all Krishna's girlfriends is a stringed instrument she plays. When Krishna stands in his youthful posture, she puts her hand on his shoulder. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, she is still always engaged in the service of Krishna. Srimati Radharani is decorated with Sudipta Satvika emotions, which sometimes include jubilation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta Satvika emotions are manifest when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called Kil Kinchita, which is manifest in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. As far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as habitual emotions are concerned, they're manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparation, preparing for separation, and forgetfulness. The tilaka of good fortune is on her forehead, on the forehead of Srimati Radharani. And she also has a locket of Prem Vechitya. Prem Vechitya is manifest when a lover and beloved meet and fear separation. Srimati Radharani is 15 days younger than Krishna. She always keeps her hand on the shoulder of one of her friends, and she always talks and thinks of pastimes with Krishna. She always offers Krishna a kind of intoxicant by her sweet talks, and she is always prepared to fulfill all his desires. In other words, she supplies everything needed to meet all the demands of Sri Krishna, and she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Krishna's satisfaction. In Govinda Leelamrit, a nice verse states, who is the breeding ground of affection for Krishna? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Who is Krishna's dear, most lovable object? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. Sheen in the hair, moisture in the eyes, firmness in the breast. All these qualities are present in Srimati Radhika. Therefore, only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. No one else can do so. Satyabhama is a competitor of Srimati Radharani, but she always desires to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all the damsels of Raja come to learn arts from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddess of fortune and Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, desire elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Krishna cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them. After hearing Ramanand Rai speak of the qualities of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, Lord Chaitanya desired to hear from him about the reciprocal exchange of love between them. Ramanand Rai described Krishna as Dheer Lalit, a word indicating a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety, and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Krishna is always engaged in loving affairs with Radharani, and he takes to the bushes of Vrindavan to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Thus, he successfully carries out his lusty instincts. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, it is stated, by his impudent and daring talks about sex indulgence, Krishna obliged Srimati Radharani to close her eyes, and taking advantage of this, Krishna painted many pictures on her breasts. These pictures served as a subject matter of Radharani's friends to joke about. Krishna was always engaged in such lusty activities, thus, he made his youthful life successful. Upon hearing these transcendental activities, Lord Chaitanya said, My dear Ramananda, what you have explained regarding the transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna is perfectly correct. Yet there is something more I'd like to hear from you. It is very difficult for me to express anything beyond this, Ramanand Rai replied. I can only say that there is an emotional activity called Prem Vilas Vivar, which I may try to explain. But I do not know whether you'll be happy to hear of it. In Prem Vilas, there are two kinds of emotional activities, meeting and separation. This transcendental separation is so acute that it is actually more ecstatic than meeting. Ramanand Rai was expert in understanding these highly elevated dealings between Radha and Krishna. And in this regard, he had composed a nice song which he narrated to the Lord. The purport of the song is that the lover and the beloved, before meeting, generate a kind of emotion by the exchange of their transcendental activities. The emotion is called raga or attraction. Srimati Radharani noted that this attraction and affection between us has risen to the highest extent. And because the cause of this attraction is Radharani herself, whatever the cause may be, Radharani said, that affection between you and me has mixed us in oneness. Now that it is the time of separation, I cannot see the history of the evolution of this love. There was no cause or mediator in our love, save our meeting itself and the exchange of feelings through our glances. This exchange of feelings between Krishna and Radharani is very difficult to understand unless one is elevated to the platform of pure goodness. Such transcendental reciprocation is not possible to understand even from the platform of material goodness. One has to transcend even material goodness in order to understand. This is because the exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is not a subject matter of this world, this material world. Even the greatest mental speculators cannot understand this directly or indirectly. Material activities are manifested for either the gross body or the subtle mind. But this exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is beyond such manifestations and beyond intellectual mental speculation. It can be understood only with purified senses, freed from the freed from all the designations of the material world. Those who have purified senses can understand these transcendental features and exchanges, but those who are impersonalists and who have no knowledge of spiritual senses can only discriminate within the scope of the material senses, and thus cannot understand spiritual exchanges or spiritual sensual activities. Those who are elevated by virtue of experimental knowledge can only satisfy their blunt material senses, either by gross bodily activities or by mental speculation. Everything generated from the body or the mind is always imperfect and perishable, but transcendental spiritual activities are always bright and wonderful. Pure love on the transcendental platform is the paragon of purity because it is devoid of material affection and is completely spiritual. Affection for matter is perishable, as indicated by the inebriety of sex in the material world. But there is no such inebriety in the spiritual world. Hindrances on the path of sense satisfaction cause material distress, but one cannot compare that with the spiritual distress of separation from Krishna. In such spiritual separation, there is neither inebriety or ineffectiveness, as one finds with material separation. Lord Chaitanya said that this is the highest position of transcendental loving reciprocation. And he told Ramanand Rai, by your grace only have I been able to understand such high transcendental position. Such a position cannot be attained without the performance of transcendental activities. So will you kindly explain to me how I can raise myself to this platform? It is similarly difficult for me to make you understand, Ramanand replied. As far as I am concerned, I can only speak what you wish me to, for no one can escape your supreme will. Indeed, there is no one in the material world who can surpass your supreme will. And although I appear to be speaking, I'm actually not the speaker. You are. Therefore, you are both the speaker and the audience. Thus, let me speak only as you will me to speak about the activities required to attain the highest transcendental position. Ramanand Rai then began his explanation, saying that the transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. These activities cannot be understood by one who has an emotional relationship with the Supreme Lord as a servant to master, friend to friend, or a parent to son. This confidential subject matter can be understood only in the association of the damsels of Raja, for these confidential activities have arisen from the feelings and the emotions of those damsels. Without the association of the damsels of Raja, one cannot nourish or cherish such a transcendental understanding. In other words, because these confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna have expanded through the mercy of the damsels of Raja, without their mercy, one cannot understand them. One has to follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Raja in order to understand. When one is actually situated in that understanding, he becomes eligible to enter the confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna. For one who wants to understand these confidential pastimes, there is no alternative to following in the footsteps of the damsels of Raja. This is confirmed in Govind Leelamrit. Although manifest, happy, expanded, unlimited, and unlimited, the emotional exchanges between Radha and Krishna can be understood only by the damsels of Raja or their followers. Just as no one can understand the expansion of spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord without his causeless mercy, no one can understand the transcendental sex life between Radha and Krishna without following in the footsteps of the damsels of Raja. The associates of Radharani include her personal associates called Sakhis and her near assistants called Manjaris. It is very difficult to express the dealings of Radharani's associates with Krishna because they have no desire to mix with him or enjoy with him personally. Rather, they are always ready to help Radharani associate with Krishna. Their affection for Krishna and Radharani is so pure that they are simply satisfied when Radha and Krishna are together. Indeed, their transcendental pleasure is in seeing Radha and Krishna united. The actual form of Radharani is just like a creeper embracing the tree of Krishna. And the damsels of Braja, the associates of Radharani, are just like the leaves and flowers of that creeper. When a creeper embraces a tree, the leaves and flowers of the creeper automatically embrace it. The Govind Leelamrit describes the pleasure of Radharani's associates as follows. Radharani, the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna is compared to a creeper, and her associates, the damsels of Raja, are compared to the flowers and leaves of that creeper. When Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, the damsels of Raja relish the pleasure more than Radharani herself. Although the associates of Radharani do not expect any personal attention from Krishna. Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Krishna and the damsels of Raja. Indeed, Radharani tries to unite her associates with Krishna by many transcendental maneuvers, and she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meetings with him. When Krishna sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, he becomes more satisfied. Such loving reciprocation has nothing to do with material lust, although it resembles the material union between man and woman. Because of that similarity, such reciprocation is sometimes called in transcendental language transcendental lust, as confirmed in the Gautamiya Tantra. Lust means attachment to one's personal sense gratification. But as far as Radharani and her associates are concerned, they have no desire for personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam in a verse spoken by the gopis among themselves. Yatte sujat charanam buruhum saneshu bhita chanay priya dadimahi karkasheshu tena tavim atasi tad vyathatena kim swit urpadibhir bhramati dhir bhavadayu shamna. My dear friend Krishna, you are now roaming in the forest with your bare feet, which you sometimes keep on our breasts. When your feet are on our breasts, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft feet. Now you are wandering in the forest and walking over rough stones, and we do not know how you are feeling. Since you are our life and soul, the displeasure you are undergoing in traveling over the rough stones is giving us great distress. Such feelings expressed by the damsels of Raja constitute the highest Krishna conscious emotions. Anyone who actually becomes captivated by Krishna consciousness approaches this level of the gopis. There are 64 categories of regulated devotional service, the performance of which helps one rise to the gopis' stage of unconditional devotion. After affection for Krishna on the level of the gopis is called ragatmika or spontaneous love. When one enters into spontaneous loving affair with Krishna, there is no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. There are various kinds of personal devotees of Lord Krishna in the transcendental abode. For example, there are servants of Krishna like Raktak and Patrak, and friends of Krishna like Sridham and Subal. They are also Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda, who are all also engaged in service according to the respective transcendental emotions. One who desires to enter into the spiritual supreme abode of Krishna can take shelter of one such transcendental servitor. Then again, then through the execution of loving service, one can ultimately attain transcendental affection for Krishna, the highest goal. In other words, the devotee in this material world who executes loving service in pursuance of the activities of the eternal associates with Krishna attains the same post when he is perfected. The sages, known as the Shrutis, the personified Upanishads, also desired the post of the gopis, and they also followed in the footsteps of the gopis in order to attain the highest goal of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:87-23, where it is said that in general, sages control their mind and senses by practicing pranayam, control of the breathing process, and mystic yoga. Thus, they try to merge into the supreme Brahman. But this same goal is attained by atheists who deny the existence of God if they're killed by an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They also merge into the Brahm existence of the Supreme Lord. But the damsels of Vrindavan worship Sri Krishna, having been bitten by him just as a person is bitten by a snake. For Krishna's body is compared with the body of a snake. A snake's body is never straight, it's always curved. Similarly, Krishna often stands in a three-curved posture, and he has bitten the gopis with transcendental love. The gopis are certainly better situated than all mystic yogis and others who desire to merge into the supreme Brahman. Therefore, the sages known as the Shrutis followed in the footsteps of the damsels of Raja in order to attain a similar position. One cannot attain that position simply by following regulative principles. Rather, one must seriously follow the principles of the gopis. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:9-21, wherein it is stated that Lord Krishna, the son of Srimati Yashoda, is not easily available to those following the principles of mental speculation, but is very easily available to all kinds of living beings who follow the path of spontaneous devotional service. There are many pseudo devotees claiming to belong to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sect who artificially dress themselves as the damsels of Raja. This is not approved by advanced spiritualists or advanced students of devotional service. Such people dress the outward material body because they foolishly confuse the body with the soul. They're mistaken when they think that the spiritual bodies of Krishna, Radharani, and their associates, the damsels of Raja, are composed of material nature. One should know perfectly well that all such manifestations are expansions of the eternal bliss and knowledge in the transcendental world. They have nothing to do with these material bodies. These Thus the bodies, dresses, decorations, and activities of damsels of Raja do not, damsels of Vrindavan do not belong to the material cosmic manifestation. The damsels of Vrindavan are not a subject for the attraction of those in the material world. They are transcendental attractions for the all attractive Krishna. Because the Lord is all attractive, he is called Krishna. But the damsels of Vrindavan are attractive even to Krishna. Therefore, they are not of this material world. If one wrongly thinks that the material body is as perfect as a spiritual body, and thus begins to worship Krishna by imitating the damsels of Vrindavan, he becomes infested with Mayavad, impersonal philosophy. The impersonalists recommend a process of ahangropasana, by which one worships his own body as a supreme. Thinking in this way, such pseudo transcendentalists dress themselves as the damsels of Raja. Such activities are not acceptable in devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami, the most authoritative Acharya in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has condemned these imitators. The process of transcendental realization is to follow in the footsteps of the associates of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, to think oneself as a direct associate of Supreme Lord is condemned. Although the authorized Vaishnava principles, according to authorized Vaishnava principles, one should follow a particular devotee and not think of himself as Krishna's associate. In this way, Ramanand Rai explained that one should accept the mood of the damsels of Raja. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is clearly said that one should accept the emotional activities of the associates of Krishna, not imitate their dress. One should also always meditate upon the dealings between Radha and Krishna in the transcendental world. One should think of Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day and engage in their service with one's mind, not externally change one's dress. By adopting the mood of the associates and friends of Radharani and following in their footsteps, one can ultimately achieve the perfection stage of being transferred to Golok Vrindavan, the transcendental abode of Krishna. By adopting this emotional mood of following in the footsteps of the gopis, one attains his Siddha Deha. This word indicates the pure spiritual body, which is beyond the senses, mind, and intelligence. This Siddha Deha is the purified soul who is just suitable to serve the Supreme Lord. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate without being situated in his perfectly pure spiritual identity. That identity is completely free from all material contamination. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a material contaminated person transmigrates to another material body by material consciousness. At the time of death, he thinks materially and is therefore transferred to another material body. Similarly, one who at the time of death is situated in his pure spiritual identity thinks of the spiritual loving service rendered to the Supreme Lord and is transferred to the spiritual kingdom to enter into the association of Krishna. In other words, the qualification of being transferred to the spiritual kingdom at the time of death is to think in one's spiritual identity of Krishna and his associates. No one can contemplate the activities of the spiritual kingdom without being situated in his pure spiritual identity, Siddha Deha. Thus, Ramanand Rai said that without attaining one's Siddha Deha, one can neither become an associate of the damsels of Raja nor render service directly to the Supreme Personality, to the personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his eternal consort Radharani. In this regard, Ramanand quoted a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-60. Nayam Shriyo Ang Unitant Rate Prasadah Swar Yoshitam Nalin Gandh Rucham Utonya Rasotsave Asya Bhujdand Grahit Kantha Labdha Shisham Ya Udgad Braj Vallabhinam. Neither the goddess of fortune Lakshmi nor the damsels of the heavenly kingdom can attain the facilities of the damsels of Brajabhumi, and what to speak of others. Lord Chaitanya was very satisfied to hear these statements from Ramanand Rai, and he embraced him. Then both of them began to cry in the ecstasy of transcendental realization. Thus the Lord and Ramanand Rai discussed the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna throughout the night, and in the morning they separated. Ramanand left to go to his place, and Lord went to take his bath. At the time of separation, Ramanand fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and prayed, "My dear Lord, you have come come just to deliver me from the mire of nescience. Therefore, I request that you remain here for at least 10 days to purify my mind of material contamination. There is no one else who can deliver such transcendental love of God." The Lord replied, "I have come to you to purify myself by hearing from you the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I am so fortunate, for you are the only teacher of such transcendental pastimes. I can find no one else in the world who has realized the transcendental loving reciprocation between Radha and Krishna. You are asking me to stay here for 10 days, but I wish to remain with you for the rest of my life. Please come to Jagannath Puri, my headquarters, and we will remain together for the rest of our lives. Therefore, I can pass my remaining days in understanding Krishna and Radha by your association." Prabhuji, you finished the chapter.
Yes, Madhuri. So, what can I say about whatever we read? It says here that Ramananda Rai was able to say all this as I mean, we read how in the previous class we read how Ramananda Rai is like the stringed instrument, and Lord Chaitanya is like playing the instrument. You know, so that is the how we have to offer ourselves to the Lord. We have to make ourselves fully suitable for the Lord to use us in whatever way He deems fit. So right now we are completely broken in different ways. I mean, not literally broken. I meant to say that we are our consciousness is completely broken and dissipated into so many different activities of sense gratification. So, so our veena is broken actually. So how will the Lord play a broken veena? So we have to, or a violin, whatever. So we have to assemble the veena properly together again. So that's why it is said that lust is a perverted form of love, and and for love there is only one object, Krishna. For lust, it is I, me, mine, my family, my society, my country. So like that, lust is dissipated in various ways. So we have to. So original love is not lust is dissipated. Original love is dissipated as lust in various ways. So we have to reconvert that dissipated love as lust back into love again. We have so many points of interest in this material world. All of those points of interest are all based on lust. It's not based on what Krishna's point of interest. So it's all based on our point of interest. So that's the challenge. So once we are able to assemble ourselves together, then we render ourselves fit for the Lord to use us as his instruments in his service. And in fact, the glory of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why he's considered as glorious, is because you don't have to come to the stage of Brahmabhuta platform to engage in pure devotional service. He is engaging anyone, even the most fallen. In fact, the most fallen is most qualified. Without having reached the Brahmabhuta stage, he's engaging all of us in pure devotional service. So that's an extraordinary benediction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought. Of course, you could say the other Vaishnava lines also have this engagement in pure devotional service. That's correct. But this kind of the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, that was uniquely presented by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you cannot imagine anyone more kind than him. You cannot imagine anyone more liberal than him. You cannot imagine anyone who would bend, and flex Shastric injunctions to, not break, but bend and flex. You can't break Shastric injunction. Lord Chaitanya never broke any Shastric injunction. But he would bend it and flex it to accommodate all the souls of this most fallen age. So as we were reading this is the only thing that I was thinking about, that how Ramananda Roy has made himself such a fit instrument in the service of the Lord. And that's what we also need to do, to render ourselves fit instruments in the service of the Lord. Any comments, thoughts, questions?
Prabhuji, what is Siddha Deha?
Siddha Deha is the body composed of Satchidananda.
So, here it seems that one receives the Siddha Deha while living in the material world. Is that?
Yeah, we already had that Siddha Deha. No, it's revealed. That's what I mean. Perceived means revealed.
It's revealed.
Yeah, that's correct. Even in this material world, you can. So that's why you will find some of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shyamananda. So they would participate in the pastimes of the Lord directly, even while in this material world.
Yes.
Burning the hand by dipping the hand in the hot sweet rice, So the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed all these things. That is called Siddha Deha. Means like they are participating even while in this while inhabiting this material body, they're still exercising the activities of their spiritual body.
Okay.
Is that okay, Madhuri? Or
yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Basically, their material activities remain in suspended animation, while their spiritual activities are carried out through their spiritual body. They participate in the pastimes of the Lord. So it is not just spiritual television, as Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam. It's not just spiritual television. It is spiritual television, but it's not in the sense that we normally understand. It is a television where you can not just be a ringside participant, but you can be inside the ring. So they're just not seeing the pastimes of Krishna. They're also in those pastimes, participating in those pastimes. Through the television in their heart, or rather through their Siddha Deha.
So this
What
is,
else?
so
Yes, well.
this is revealed, like it said, the those who have who are in Shant, Dasya, and Vatsalya, they are not able to relate to these um, feelings of the damsels of Vrindavan. And so, so
They are
one,
not able to relate. Are you saying?
sorry, uh,
Wo-
yeah, it said
Are you
that
saying they are not able to relate? What did you say?
those who are in Shant, Dasya, and Sakhya and Vatsalya. No, not Shant. They didn't say Shant.
Yeah.
Prabhupada didn't they're not able to relate to the feelings of the damsels of Raja, it said.
Is that the exact expression that is used? Is that the exact expression called they're not able to relate?
No, it was something else.
Yeah.
Some other
Can
word.
you just read it because I don't remember it as cannot
I'll
relate.
just, yeah, I'll find it, and meanwhile, Rukmini Mataji can ask her question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Please accept my respectful obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to ask one question. That those who are perfected in other rasas like Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, are they give Vraj Bhakti? Are they blessed us with Vraj Bhakti? But the question arises in my mind because of Narad Muni. Because Narad Muni is a one and is a very elevated acharya of our disciplic succession that, he has delivered many, many souls. So, and but he is not in Madhure Ras. But because of this, it came in my mind, if someone else has perfected in some another rasas uh, then Madhurya can bless us this. And one more point related to this in my mind is that if one has to follow, of course, I'm not out of an earth nivritti stage, but still the question came in my mind that if okay, first question this Prabhuji, then I'll ask one related question also.
Okay, so you're asking whether someone like Narada Muni, who was aspiring to become a gopi, can he bless us with the gopi bhav? Is that the question?
No, no, no,
Example,
no,
right?
no, no, no.
Then,
Like Hanumanji, any other personality who has in some another rasa can bless Braj Bhakti, who
only
is not
the
in
residents of
Madhurya
Raj
rasa.
can give you Vraj Bhakti, no?
Ha. Yes, I read, but I had a confusion, so I asked. So if we have say that that if we have to follow the Vrajvasi for if we have to go further in a particular rasa, so have to follow the footstep of the Vrajvasi, and that Vrajvasi is Srila Prabhupada for us. So okay,
Okay.
okay, so does so
All the see the in sadhana bhakti, anyone can take you onto the path of sadhana bhakti. But Vraja Bhakti, one has to be a resident of Vrindavan to be able to guide you. No? Sadhana Bhakti is common to all the Vaishnava traditions anyway. What is unique with our tradition is Vraja Bhakti. Not our tradition. Like Raghavanaga Bhakti means Vraja Bhakti only. No?
yes,
It is defined in terms of Raj only. It's not defined. There's nothing called Raghavanaga Bhakti or Vaikunta.
actually I read in
If
CC.
your Swarupa is not to be a resident of Vraja, you can still be an associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's like, but like for example, Murari Gupta, you know. But Vraj Bhakti, if you have to be part of Vraj, then definitely it should be a resident of Vraj, who's your leader, no?
Okay.
But Krishna is the one who arranges all these things. So why we don't have to worry about it. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. That is how, if you just chant the holy names, it is revealed in that progression. Nama reveals Rupa, Rupa reveals Guna, Guna reveals Leela of the Lord. So if you are eligible for Vaikuntha Leela, Vaikuntha Leela will be revealed and you will be a participant of Vaikuntha Leela. The whole process of transmission happens seamlessly, in the sense that uh, okay, formerly you used to have formally there was a process of accepting a guru who's situated in Braja Bhakti to practice Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti and things like that. That's one way of doing it. That is generally the conventional way. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that's not necessary to accept a resident of Vraj formally, to practice Raganuga Bhakti. He simply said that just chant the holy name, and in that progression you will attain Nama, Guna, Rupa, and Leela. Sorry, Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. So it is encompassed. The holy name encompasses it. So if your rasa is to be in Vaikuntha, then you will go into Vaikuntha Leela. That is the Leela which will be revealed to you. Then you will be directed accordingly by the holy name. If it is to be in Vraj, it will be directed. You will be directed accordingly by the holy name, like that.
Yes, actually, I was reading CC chapter 3, Adi Leela. So one line came there. So this question came to my mind, Prabhuji. Still, we have read in the NOD also that we have to follow the footsteps of for Raganuga Bhakti, we have to follow the footstep of a Radhatmika Bhakta. Understood. Just I
Yeah.
want to ask that if someone has perfected oneself in any of the other rasa, then Madhurya Ras, can that person bless us Madhurya Bhakti?
Can that person? Sorry, because the internet connection.
Bless one to have, if we just talk about the Naradji, but we are not talking that Naradji wants to have a gopi, want to become a gopi. If we don't take this aspect, simply Hanumanji, Naradji, can they bless one to have a soul, Jiva, to have a Madhurya Ras to get into?
I think the question is, I think it is theoretical, in the sense that, see, Krishna arranges things perfectly, So, how do you say? Whoever is supposed to be your leader, you will find that leader. And that leader is a resident of Raj. That's all.
Okay, Prabhuji, fine. But I will please, where I have read in the CC chapter 3 Adi Leela, I will please ask my query.
That is a regular process, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said the holy name can also act as the resident of Raj. Holy
Yes.
name is a resident of Raj anyway. I'm just saying.
Yes, we will get everything from that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Because traditionally they would accept someone situated in the Raganuga level, whatever, or Prema, whatever it may be, to a resident of Raj. You would formally accept and follow such a resident of Raj. That's why when Prabhupada was asked, so Prabhupada, should we follow a resident of Raj? Prabhupada simply said, I am that servant.
Yes.
That's how he replied to that question.
Yes, Prabhuji. And one more from the chapter, Prabhuji. I don't know if you think good to reply then only. It is written that it's not like just taking the bath. It's written that Radhanan takes bath 3 times in the ways. Can you help me understand this? Of course, it's going. Everything else I was able to little understand, but this I wasn't. So if it is okay to tell
No, but
that
that
how she is
basically
mercy personified.
when you read the Bhagavatam every day in the morning, you're bathing in the Bhagavatam. That's what it means actually. So it is a metaphor used to explain a certain how do you say, certain kind of absorption. If you read that sentence, then I can say something.
Yeah.
Can you just read
Yes.
that sentence?
Yes, Prabhuji. Radharani is the personification of Krishna's pleasure potency. That transcendental body takes bath 3 times.
Yeah.
First, in the water of mercy. Second,
Yeah.
in the water of youthful beauty. And third, in
Yeah.
the water of youthful luster.
Youthful?
Luster.
Luster. Yeah. Luster. Yes. Luster. Yes.
So she takes the first bath in the water of mercy. Does it mean like she's a mercy personified or
Basically,
something?
the idea, like what I'm trying to say is that it is a certain form of absorption in the sense that what happens when you take bath actually? Why do you take bath? You take bath to to attain a certain feature of cleanliness in this world, right? You're doing
Yes.
it to attain something, no? No.
Yes.
But in the spiritual world, you don't have to become unclean to clean. There's nothing called unclean to clean there. Okay. So basically, it means that your water is an agent of cleanliness there. It's a carrier of cleanliness, right? It's an agent
Yes.
of cleanliness. So
Yes.
that bath is best being used as an uh, agent of something. So there is not agent of cleanliness. It is an agent of these three things. That's all.
Thank you so very much, Rubji. Understood. Thank you. Please accept my respectful obeisances.
Yeah, you're welcome, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I use the word absorption because why does Radharani do all these things? You know, so Radharani does not do all these things just for her sake. She's doing all these things just to please Krishna. So it is because of her absorption in Krishna that she takes bath in these three types of. These three, youthful luster and all these kind of the water of. That's what it means. Because of her absorption in Krishna, she does these kind of things to
Thank you so
enhance his pleasure, not for her sake. Because Krishna likes these things. Krishna is attracted to these kind of things. So she's doing that to attract Krishna, that's all. Not for her sake. So that's a symptom of the feature of her absorption in Krishna. Always trying to make him happy. Okay. What else?
Roji, most of the things we read, I mean, Rukmani probably understood some part, but I couldn't understand most part. And like you
I didn't
said,
understand most part either also. You tell me, okay. Okay. Yeah.
so, Prabhuji, it had references of scriptures like Ujjwal Neelamani, Govind Lilamrit.
Yeah.
Will we become eligible sometime to read those, or just Prabhupada books are enough?
No, Prabhupada did not restrict us from reading those books, no. He did not restrict us, but he said that be qualified and then read it. That's all. In fact, Prabhupada did not come to, obliterate the parampara. He came as to give the parampara, you know. So, but he knew that we are disqualified from, no, rather, we are not qualified to approach it at this stage. So, therefore, there is a strong emphasis. But in the Bhagavatam, it says, no, one should read the works. He says all these things. But it's not that it's a restriction. It is a restriction based on our conditioned state. That's all. It's not a permanent. It's not a permanent restriction.
Okay. I purchased Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, translation by His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj.
Yeah.
It's a commentary of Jeev Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So I
Yes.
found very difficult to understand.
BBT is also producing one. It will come very soon.
Acha. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's
It's almost done.
Yeah.
That is, I need to check. I mean,
Fine. No problem.
I saw the version with Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu was checking for correctness with Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Yeah.
So with the original commentary, because it's English to Reddish, he was checking for that. BBT asked him to check for the accuracy. So I saw that version with him, but I can ask him who's done it.
I wish it could be a little simpler because I wanted to study it so much, but I couldn't understand. Maybe, yeah, not eligible right now.
No, there, I Bhanu Maharaj doesn't, I mean, sometimes he explains a little bit, but there, BBT is not supposed to, Prabhupada established a standard for BBT, which is that they cannot just translate some of the previous Acharya's works and just publish it. They cannot. There has to be a commentary on it.
Okay.
That is BBT's standard. So, I mean, as far as I know, there'll be definitely an explanation. Whoever is translating it would give an explanation. That is a BBT standard. They can't just use the words of the Acharyas and just print it as it is. That's not possible. They have to give an explanation. Like, if you take this thing, Brihad Bhagavatamrita by Gopi Parandanu, it does not explain it. It is actually he has used Sanatan Goswami's Digdarshini commentary, but he has given his commentary, no?
Yes.
Which makes it understandable.
Yes.
That is the idea of BBT publications.
Yes. Yes.
They'll use the Acharyas, but they'll make it understandable.
Okay. Okay, makes sense. And what is Ujjwal Neelmani about?
Ujjwal Neelamani is all about Radha Krishna pastimes.
Okay. That is
Govinda Leelamrita, Ujjwal Neelamani and all that.
okay.
The crest jewels of transcendental literature. These things, no, your mind will not say, okay, I feel like reading, I will read it. That's not what happens. Those who are on that stage of prema and all, I mean, those are in very exalted states, they just don't think I should read or something like that. They spontaneously do these kind of things. You know, they hanker and this. You can't stop them. It's like that. They don't think. There's no process of, I don't know how to put it. There is no intellectual process going on in their minds. You know, it's like, okay, let me just give a simple example. If there is, I mean, if you are healthy and if prasadam is placed in front of you, you just have it, no? There's no question about whether this is, all that comes when you are sick only. So similarly, Ujjwala Neelamani and all these questions come up because we are sick. Can we have this food or not to have this food? Right? Like that. But when you are completely healthy, you will just have you just honor the prasadam. That's all. There's no question of thinking all this eligible, no eligible. Nobody thinks about all these things. So here, I mean, basically you have to be healthy there. They'll just, I mean, if prasadam is something which you honor, that's all. So those are on the very exalted states. They don't think about, because they're not unhealthy, you know, they're healthy people, whatever. They're healthy and spiritual I'm talking about. That's it. So they spontaneously read the Ujjwala Neelamani and all that. It's just part of their life and being. Like the question that you're asking, can I read, not read, that will not come up in their minds. Because they're eager, actually. That's why if you look at what Prabhupada writes in the first book for neophytes, which is the Nectar of Instruction, which we studied the first, Prabhupada says there, no? I mean, he quotes Narottam Das Thakur says, what's it? Anyway, when I become eager to study the transcendental literatures left by the Goswamis, then I'll become eligible to understand Radha and Krishna pastimes. So he's basically talking about hankering to read those literatures. So there's no more, it's not an intellectual exercise. They just spontaneously go for it. They've got so much of attraction in their hearts. Is it okay, Madhi?
Yes, Ruji. Thank you so much.
Like, for example, Guru Maharaj often would say that if a brahmachari is thinking whether he should remain a brahmachari or get married, generally it means that they should get married, generally. Because the very question is coming up in their minds, no? So brahmachari means the question will not even come up in their mind whether I should remain brahmachari or whether I should get married. It doesn't come up in their minds. That's how it is. That dilemma doesn't even arise in their mind. So like that, the dilemma whether I can read or not read will not even arise in the minds of somebody who is actually very exalted. Right? They know exactly what they want, exactly what nourishes Krishna Bhakti. That's all. They just go for it. I'm just saying it's beyond a mental concept. Because if we are in the mental platform, we do all these questions, we have all these questions and things like that. But once they're already situated on a certain platform, beyond the mind, then this is just spontaneous activity. To set an example, they may say, I'm not qualified, this, that, and all that. That's a different thing. Like Prabhupada said, I'm not qualified to discuss Radha Krishna. So when the governor of Madras asked him to recite, he said, no, I'm not eligible to recite. So that to set an example, they may do some things. But yeah, that is when they're behaving in relation with the external world. But when they're behaving with respect to Krishna's internal energy, with respect to Yoga Maya, then it's spontaneous for them. In summary, so in short, yes, we can read the books of previous acharyas. And we're eligible to read it when we don't have a question about it. I don't know if that answers the question.
Like, I don't understand right now anything, so not eligible to read.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that, yeah, it's not an intellectual or mental thing anyway. That is, see, for example, some things are recommended processes. Okay, like for example, reading Bhagavatam is a recommended process for us to purify our hearts. Okay, reading Ujjala Neelamani, Govinda Leelamrita is not a recommended process. That is the difference. There are prescribed processes. That is not a prescribed process. That is an eligible process. You have to be eligible to do it. You understood, right?
Yes, yes.
So it is not a prescribed process. No. That's not a prescription at all. That is an eligibility. Prescription comes only when you are sick. Doctors only prescribe. No. Why doctors prescribe for patients? So when you're a patient, there are prescriptions. This is not a prescriptive literature. No, it is not meant for patients. It is meant when you're healthy. It does not have a prescription. That's the whole idea. That's the point. Basically, it's not meant for us now. That's all.
Prabhuji,
At a
but
certain point, yeah.
no, I'm just saying, Prabhuji, I'm sure it's meant for you, people like you who are at that platform, but not for me.
No, you have to be beyond Anartha Nivritti. No. You cannot just say, because you cannot just say it is meant for certain, okay, it is for you, me. Like, basically, whoever is really above Anartha Nivritti. That's a fact. At least above Anartha Nivritti. Like, see, why I said prescribed, not prescribed is, when a person is free from sickness, there's no prescription on food. No, you can eat whatever you want, right? When you're healthy. Of course, in the material world, still your body can get messed up if you eat anything, whatever you want. But in general, I'm just to give an indication of it. When you're healthy, there's no prescriptions. You can eat. So that at that point, there's no question of asking whether I can read Govinda Lilamrita or whether I can read. That question doesn't even arise. That is what I was trying to say. Because there's no prescription for a healthy person. No. Healthy person can just relish food. These are books which are meant for relishing. It is not a book which is meant to purify your heart. You understand, right?
Yes.
This is not a book meant to purify your heart. That is not the intent of the book. The intent of the book is for you to relish it. Relish Krishna Katha. Relish the Krishna Leela. Only of that category. And in fact, it is there's a warning. If you are not in the category of, if you are not healthy, if you take this food, you'll fall sick. Like if you, what is it? When you are sick and you take condensed milk, then you're going to fall sick. No, so this is like condensed milk. What's it? They're all like condensed milk. When a stomach is not okay, it's not. I mean, totally prohibited foods like that. What is speak of prescribed is actually prohibited food. For those who are not healthy. But Bhagavatam is not like that. Bhagavatam, it says that if you read Bhagavatam, even the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, your heart will get purified. It says that. Even if you are still in the condition stage, you read the Krishna book, if you read the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, the material disease of lust in the heart will vanish. That is what is said there. You know, that is meant for purification. Even though you're not eligible, that's okay. Even though you're sick, sorry. Even though you're sick, it is still it creates a purificatory effect in the heart. But this will produce a counter productive effect. These kind of literatures. Is that okay, Madhuri?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Understood. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any what else? Okay. Anandita Madhuri, are you still in India or you went back to Turkey?
I came back yesterday. Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhuji. Otherwise, we could meet in the airport again.
Yeah, I saw Mataji in Vrindavan on Sunday. Oh, Monday. Yeah. I didn't know you're going back so quickly. I thought that you were here for a while. I'm not sure. I was not sure. That's why I asked you. Okay. Hope to see you in India again.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hope to see you in Istanbul soon.